Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Recently, Activision has revealed their next entry in the Call of Duty series, titled Call of Duty WW2. This is looking to be a World War II game that is going to go back to a boots-on-the-ground, simpler, frankly more enjoyable Call of Duty for a lot of people. I think that this is a good direction for Activision. I think that this is very welcome. They need to go back to something simpler for Call of Duty. And I'd kind of like to talk a little bit about why I think that this is good. First off, let me start off by saying I do not identify as either a fanboy of the Call of Duty series or a hater of the Call of Duty series. As much as I equally do not like someone who blindly likes anything just because it has a name attached to it, and I also do not like when someone bashes on something just because there's a name attached to it. At the end of the day, it's a game. If you like the game, I couldn't care less. But I think that Call of Duty has somewhat lost its way. Taking a look at Infinite Warfare, let's take a look at some of the pros that the series has. As hard as it might be, let's try to take a look at some of the pros that it might have. There is a lot of variety. There's different locations you can have. There's a lot of differences to the weapons. There's a lot of different things so that it's not entirely boring. The maps are colorful. There's a lot of unique set pieces that it's on. And being in the future, they're not limited by the technological constraints of a given time period. They are free to do whatever they want, which I always appreciate. But there are a lot of cons that can ruin the game for, let's be honest, a lot of people. There's just way too much stuff going on. There's crazy score streaks, there's crazy weapons, everyone has an ability now, the movement is all over the place, it's just a lot going on. And above all, in my opinion, the movement system is just not done in a way that complements a military shooter. Now, in my mind, there's two categories of a shooter. You have your military shooter, and you have your arena shooter. There might be other classifications, but let's think about these two types of genres here. For military shooter, you've got things like classic Call of Duty, Battlefield, Arma, Red Orchestra. In the arena shooter, you have Quake, Doom, Unreal Tournament, etc., etc. There are very different ways to go about a shooter, and I think that Call of Duty has started dipping its feet in both pools at this point, and I just don't think that it turns out all that well. To kind of clarify what I mean, I'd like to bring up a few examples. First off, let's go with what's obvious, Modern Warfare Remastered. That came with Infinite Warfare, and I think a lot of people only got Infinite Warfare because of Modern Warfare Remastered. That's probably why Activision bundled it so that you had to have it to be able to play it, but that's another thing. In Modern Warfare Remastered, there's enough of a simplicity so that you know exactly what you can expect. The guns function in a way that you can anticipate. There's not something crazy going on. When it gets heated, it's because of something that you knew was going to come. You don't have to worry about something that's going to get 15 kills before it leaves the map. You're not going to worry about some sort of laser shotgun that's going to ricochet off of 15 surfaces and kill you before you can even react. It's toned down, but there still is enough there so that it feels like you've got a full game without being just too much to handle. Let's bring in another example that I'd like to talk about for contrast, Titanfall 2. Now that's a game that's got a lot going on. It's far in the future, it's got mechs, it's got a movement system, but it's not bashed like Call of Duty. Now that could just be because it doesn't have Call of Duty on the title and that people are expecting something much simpler, but Titanfall 2 did it better in my opinion. First off, you've got maps that were really well done for this in mind, that they're large, they're open, but even in close quarters they're done in a way so that the advanced movement can only do so much for you. And because of all this, it's just never too much to handle. And additionally, in Titanfall 2 you don't have super crazy score streaks. The weapons are from an identifiably small pool. Yes, there are a couple different assault rifles and SMGs and shotguns, but there's not a plethora of them that react in such crazy ways that you can't react to them when they're being fired at you. So overall, the chaos from all of this is being brought down to a reasonable level. And that's the theme that I'm starting to see with these games, is that how do you balance how outrageous and how exciting something can be with keeping the level of chaos and unpredictability down to an acceptable level for that type of game. Additionally, let's take a look at how Destiny does their multiplayer. Now, you can say what you want about Destiny's Crucible, it does have its problems, but there are some lessons that I think you can take away from that. Destiny plays more like an arena shooter than a military shooter. Indicators of that is that, first off, your primaries are the main weapons you're going to be using. Your scout rifles, your pulse rifles, your auto rifles, your hand cannons. Things like shotguns and sniper rifles are for your special, and things like rocket launchers and heavy machine guns are for your heavy. Special and heavy weapons have scarce ammo. Ammo is given out at certain supply points, that's telegraphed, they're fought over, and when they're collected, everyone knows it and they know that they need to watch out for it. They've only got so much use before they need to be replenished, so you're not always running around with a rocket launcher or a noob tube or a heavy machine gun plowing down people. The game does have supers, and while some of them are very overpowered admittedly, they're very clearly defined. You can pretty much know when they're about to go off if you're watching carefully, when you're listening. They're able to be worked around. It's not like you're always having to worry about someone who's dodging around and hitting you with a one-shot weapon every single minute. And then with movement, Destiny does have a little bit of a movement, but it basically is just a double jump. There are a few extra movements that are either class-specific perks or equipment bonuses, but regardless, you kind of know what you can expect from people, so that when you're shooting or aiming around a corner or anticipating someone coming in, you basically can anticipate where they're going to come from. So from all those examples, what do you take away from this? Well, what I take away from this is that Call of Duty has just added too much to their game for their own good. The last game that felt like a true Call of Duty game was Black Ops 2. Yes, it was near future, but at its core, it was still very much a boots on the ground COD. So having a little bit of some specialty future tech isn't immediately a problem, so long as it's balanced so that it feels grounded, so that it feels like you can anticipate what's going to happen. I think that having slight augments to movement could be a welcome addition if done right, but I just think that advanced movement, like what's in Infinite Warfare or Black Ops 3 or Advanced Warfare, it's something that kind of needs to be relegated to an arena shooter, where it's balanced out by weapons being more streamlined, ammo is fought over, there's not insane kill streaks, etc., etc. I think that the most that Call of Duty can manage is having some sort of either slide or dive mechanic, but I think that that's about where it needs to know its limit. If I could put it into one word, though, or two words in this case, as to what Call of Duty needs to remember, it would be controlled chaos. Something crazy going on is one thing, but when there's just so much unpredictable stuff going on at once that you can't keep up with it, it just starts becoming too much and you start having less fun with it. And that's what happened with Call of Duty. Advanced Warfare was an attempt to make things new and interesting, and it kinda did, but the problem though is that it just started the trend of just adding more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, to the point where it was just too crazy. There was just too much chaos that wasn't balanced out in anywhere. Every single aspect was ratcheted up to 11, and it just was too much. What Call of Duty needs to do is that they need to figure out what area of the game do they need to specialize in, and what do they need to balance around it. World War II is, I believe, where they need to be for this next entry. I don't believe that this is a reaction to Battlefield 1. That's not how game development works. They've been working on this for a long time. 2 years or so, I would say. This isn't something that they decided as soon as they saw the Battlefield 1 trailer, oh, we need to make an older style game too. No. Sledgehammer Games making a World War II game, I feel, is more of a reaction that they got from Advanced Warfare, seeing how people reacted to that and deciding we need to make something a bit similar. So that's what I think. I think that with the World War II shooter, I think that this is Call of Duty focusing more on an area that people liked about the Call of Duty series and adopting a certain playstyle that fits that series better. Call of Duty is very much a brand. When you have a brand, there are certain expectations that you have when you buy into it. If Activision wants to have advanced movement, super futuristic, crazy weapons, stuff like that, I think they need to make a different franchise. Have something to be a counterpart to a classic boots on the ground Call of Duty style that they can offer in tandem or alternatively. Kind of similar to what EA did. If you wanted a classic shooter, you had Medal of Honor, you had Battlefield 4, you had Battlefield 1. But if you wanted something crazy and unique and futuristic, you had the Titanfall series. You have Battlefront now. There's options, but they're distinct franchises that have their own feel. But if you only liked one, you could just buy the one. You could count on their being there. And I think Activision, as crazy as this is going to sound, I think Activision needs to take a page from EA's book on this point. But that's what I thought. I think that them going back to World War II is a great change of pace. I'd like to see them do some more stuff in the history and in modern era, and this is coming from someone that's a really likes sci-fi stuff. I think that Call of Duty needs to go back to this type of gameplay. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And remember, at the end of the day, video games are supposed to be about fun. They're not supposed to be something to be fought over. They're not supposed to be something that if you like or dislike something that you then must have a dent in your head. No. Games are about having fun. So if you like Call of Duty, if you like where it is at, more power to you. Sometimes I like it as well. But I think back to the games in the Call of Duty series that I liked, and just this isn't where it is. So, let me know. Thanks for watching the video, and have fun.